Did you ever wonder what would happen if you took a bunch of myths and legends and stuck them in American tourist traps? Well, let's find out. Hello everyone, my name is Tony. I'm also known as Art Crow here on the internet. And currently I'm trying to transform myself into a hero using the examples I find in pop culture and whatever else I can find. Today's segment is all about reading. I've challenged myself to read 12 books, 6 fiction, 6 nonfiction, by the end of the first half of this year. And time is getting tight. This is only the second time I've done a Reading Rebel episode. Today's book, American Gods, comes from the fiction half of my challenge. In addition to being fiction, it falls into the fantasy and mythology genre. But it takes most of its locations from right here in America. Before I talk too much about the book, I want to talk about the author a little bit, Neil Gaiman. Let's look him up, why don't we? Looks like Mr. Neil Gaiman is an English guy. In addition to being an author, he's also a comic book creator, screenwriter, and voice actor. Seems like quite the talented guy. And he's won a number of awards, a couple of which for the very book that we're talking about today. I'll be honest, part of the reason why I got to this book when I did is because they've turned it into a TV show. It's coming out this weekend. And I wanted to read it for myself before I saw it. So exactly what is American Gods all about? Well, the main protagonist of the story is a man named Shadow. He's an ex-convict who got out of prison a little bit early because he found out that his wife and his best friend died. He's completely alone in the world. That's when he meets a man who calls himself Mr. Wednesday. He wants to hire him for bodyguard? Kind of? Sort of? He doesn't really need that much protection. He sort of needs an errand boy. Together they travel all across America recruiting people. But not just any people. They're recruiting the gods. See, in this world, belief is enough to create something. And throughout American history, anytime someone with a belief in a god came here, so did that god. Mr. Wednesday wants to recruit as many of the old gods as he can to fight against the new gods here in America. But those new gods aren't even really gods. They're more personifications of the ideas of things. The things we actually pay attention to here in America, like media and technology. There are so many themes tucked away in the pages of this book. We have the classic hero's journey, plus we have all the myths and legends associated with the gods that they come across. We've got a mystery disappearance, we have a story of true love, and there's more that I'm missing. I know I am. It's just so jam-packed with all sorts of stuff. Which leads me to talk about how this book was written. Most of the time we're following the main character, Shadow. But every so often throughout the book, we follow different characters and learn different stories. And eventually all the stories are tied up back to Shadow in one way or another. Which when I was reading it, I wasn't quite sure how that was going to happen. But they all do. Some of them you have to pay closer attention to get that payoff. But trust me, all the stories do end up getting wrapped up back with Shadow somehow, some way. So the question becomes, how would I rate it on my little scale here? I say you should buy it and try to read it before the show comes out like I did. Yes, you have less time than I did, but it is a doable thing. But if you think that's too much of a challenge, I get it. It took me a while to read this book myself. But if you can't cram it all in before the show starts, you might want to watch it anyway. It's highly likely I have a collaboration coming up talking about the show, and you don't want any more spoilers than I've already given you. I've got 10 books left to read before the end of the first half of this year. I think I only have 9 weeks left. That means I have a lot of work to do. So you're probably going to see 1 or 2 of these every week until that deadline hits. I've got a lot of work to do, so I should probably get to it. Stick with me, Rebels. We can do this. Please remember to share this video, click like, and comment, because all that stuff really helps me out. And if you're not sure what to comment, just answer the question of the day. It's right over there. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and get notified, because that is the way that you will not miss anything I put out. And don't forget, there's always links in the description to either other videos, things I talked about, or things that you just might find interesting.